My questions to the Minister for Domestic, Sexual and Family Violence. Minister, I note that on the January 23rd, you said that the $180 million that your government has committed to domestic, sexual and family violence prevention would, in your words, start to flow before the end of January. Can you please update the chamber with what funding under that $180 million has been rolled out? And can you detail which frontline services you have met with and what process the government is using to make decisions about funding allocations? Thank you.
Minister for Prevention of Domestic Violence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Member for Johnston. That is the question I have been waiting for. And I've been waiting for it because I am absolutely delighted here in this chamber to announce, and one of the reasons why the full round of funding wasn't discussed until now was there were processes I had to follow, but we did in fact launch the circuit breaker across the Northern Territory before the end of January, which addresses recommendations 7 and 15 of the coroner's findings into the recent tragic deaths of 4 Aboriginal women. But I am delighted to stand here before you, Madam Speaker, to say that we will be funding ongoing, beyond the 5-year commitment made in the election, $36 million per year dedicated to domestic, family and sexual violence services. And what I can also tell you, Madam Speaker, is that we appreciate there's a lot of work to do in this space. We are dealing with the outcomes of neglect over the past decade or so of what was working and what wasn't working. We are dealing with the fact that we have to actually break that vicious cycle, which is what one of the agendas of the Circuit Breaker program is, where we can get to kids at an early stage in their life and break that cycle and address the root causes that are leading to them on a path of being perpetrators in the future. What we are going to do is those organisations that are currently funded until the end of this current financial year, June 2025, they will have their funding extended until June 2026, and we will continue to work with them over this next 18-month period to make sure that we are going to get the best possible results, Madam Speaker, for all Territorians in this space. We have a horrendous track record, 82% increase in domestic, family and sexual violence assaults over the last 8 years. This cannot continue. We will focus on behaviour programs, not just targeting men's behaviour, but supporting young people so that they can learn the skills to know how they can stand up for themselves and prevent.
Take your seat, please, Minister. What's your point of order, Member for Johnston?
Point of order. Thank you, Minister. And just I want to say it's wonderful news that it's ongoing funding. What I actually sorry, just in terms of what I wanted to ask, my question was what funding has, since the end of January, been rolled out? What frontline services have you met with?
Minister,
thank you.
You've got the call.
Thank you. As I've already said, we rolled out the Circuit Breaker program across the Northern Territory. I have met with multiple organisations. I've met with Doors, I've met with Ruby Gaia, I have met with a number of service deliveries in the Big Rivers region. I've met with services in Alice Springs. I was recently at Warramyunga talking to the amazing women in that environment about the wonderful programs
Minister,
that they do.
your time has expired.